Here's a version of understanding the world that just feels like understanding, where you walk away from a book feeling smarter, more curious about presumed hidden patterns. And then there's Malcolm Gladwell. Here's the thesis stated plainly: Gladwell doesn't illuminate complexity. He replaces it. He takes a messy, contested, empirically ambiguous reality and trades it for a story that fits in an airport bookshop and goes down like a warm drink. The problem isn't that he simplifies. Everyone simplifies. The problem is that he simplifies with supreme confidence while being wrong in ways that matter. Start with the methodology, which is less a method than a vibe. Gladwell finds a study. He finds one study, usually obscure, often preliminary, occasionally retracted, and he builds a cathedral on top of it. The 10,000 hours rule from Outliers was always a misreading of Anders Ericsson's research. Ericsson said so himself repeatedly in public for years. Gladwell's response was essentially, interesting, anyway. Here's another anecdote about a hockey player. The man treats counter-evidence the way a river treats a boulder. He just goes around it. Which brings us to the anecdotes, because Gladwell doesn't really argue, he narrates. Every chapter opens with a scene: a boardroom, a quarterback, a woman diffusing a crisis in 1987. These scenes are vivid and warm, and they do enormous amounts of rhetorical work that the actual evidence is not doing. By the time you've spent 4 pages with a fascinating person in a fascinating situation, you've already emotionally committed to the conclusion. The case study precedes the case. This is not journalism. It's seduction with footnotes. But the most damning thing about Gladwell isn't the bad science or the narrative sleight of hand. It's what his work does to the reader's sense of causation. His entire project teaches people to expect that complex social outcomes have clean, counterintuitive explanations, that poverty is really about cultural legacy, that success is really about birth month, that violence is really about tipping points. This is intellectually catastrophic. The world doesn't have hidden levers that smart storytellers can identify from a single striking data point. It has feedback loops and structural forces and interactions too tangled to resolve into a TED talk. Gladwell doesn't just get things wrong. He trains his readers to be wrong in a specific, confident, unrevisable way, to feel that understanding has occurred precisely when it hasn't. The cruelest irony is that genuine insight is harder to sell than the Gladwell version. Real complexity is uncomfortable. It resists summary. It makes you sit with uncertainty rather than walk away enlightened. Gladwell understood, perhaps before anyone else, that the market for the feeling of insight vastly exceeds the market for insight itself. He built an empire on the gap between those two things, and that empire is called the nonfiction bestseller list, and it is doing fine.